Vice President JD Vance came out of hiding this past week to attend the CPAC conference, and during his time on stage, he wanted to reassure the fragile white conservative men in the audience that it's not their fault that they're so weak and pathetic. No, it is in fact society's fault because they are suppressing your masculinity. Now, of course, that's actually not happening anywhere. These are just a bunch of not masculine guys that go to CPAC. However, this, of course, is playing up to that Joe Rogan crowd that overwhelmingly supported Donald Trump. Donald Trump did have big support from young white men. And this is an aggrieved group of men because they've been told by right-wing influencers that they should be aggrieved, right? But that's not their fault. You know, everybody else is suppressing you. But here is what JD Vance said, pandering to this group of very weak individuals. I think that our culture sends a message to young men that you should suppress every masculine urge. You should try to cast aside your family. You should try to suppress what makes you a young man in the first place. And I think that my message to young men is don't allow this broken culture to send you a message that you're a bad person because you're a man, because you like to tell a joke, because you like to have a beer with your friends, or because you're competitive. The cultural message, and I think the president's in mine, is the exact opposite, but our cultural message is I think that it wants to turn everybody in, whether male or female, into androgynous idiots who think the same, talk the same, and act the same. We actually think God made male and female for a purpose, and we want you guys to thrive as young men and as young women, and we're going to help with our public policy to make it possible to do that. How? Like, don't just say we're going to have a public policy to let boys be boys. Explain. Because obviously, if you're saying that, then you have a policy in mind. Why didn't you tell these people what you were going to do for them, right? Instead, you just told them everything they wanted to hear, right? Like, hey, we know you're weak and pathetic and, your skin looks a little pinkish because y'all never go outside. But, it's not your fault. It's because if you go outside, society's going to yell at you and be like, we don't like men. Here's the thing about all this. That doesn't happen. Society is not telling you don't be a guy. That has never happened in my lifetime. What society is telling you is, hey, don't go out there and be a rapist or a racist, right? Basically, if it starts with an R-A, then has a consonant and ends with an I-S-T, don't be those things. And if you're not one of those things, have a great life, right? You're good to go. That's it. That is what we have evolved into a society, and that's a good thing. You can't go around slapping women on the ass anymore like it's the 1930s and think that everything's going to be fine if you do it. No, you cannot tell inappropriate jokes to coworkers that you don't even know. If it's a good friend and that's the way you guys interact with each other, in private, then sure, as long as there's a mutual understanding that that's your sense of humor. Nobody's telling you you can't do that. The only people telling you you can't do that are these people like JD Vance. They're making it up. And again, this comes from right-wing influencer culture. You see it all the time with these dudes on TikTok, these dudes on Instagram, YouTube. They're big dudes. They hit the gym 18 hours a day because that's their job as an influencer. And they're telling these weak and pathetic guys that can't even lift a 10-pound dumbbell, oh, the reason you're weak is because society's making you weak. If you were in the gym like me and you just said to hell with society, you could be big and strong like me. They're telling them what they want to hear, that it's not your fault that women won't date you. It's not your fault that you have no muscle or definition. It's not your fault that it's only 12 inches from one shoulder to the other. It's society doing that to you, trying to turn you into an androgynous idiot, as JD Vance says. Go out there and be yourself. You don't have to be like those guys who spend 18 hours a day in the gym. You don't have to listen to people like JD Vance telling you what you should feel about a society that's not trying to make you feel that way. They are making you weak. They are making you feel pathetic. Society isn't doing that. conservative influencers are. Thanks for watching today, everybody. And don't forget, if you're not already, please do subscribe to this channel. We have fresh content going up every single day, and I would really hate for you to miss out on that. And speaking of missing out, if you're not following me across all other social media outlets, then get on it. You can follow the links in the description of this video.